Hi everybody, it's Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au and this is Hotspot of the Week. Recently we published the latest edition of our National Top 10 Best Buys report, our most popular product, because it's the one that identifies the 10 locations across Australia that we think are the ones that got the best prospects for capital growth and also offer full affordability and in many cases really good rental yields. And it's a reflection of the way that property markets have been going in Australia recently, that half the locations featured in the National Top 10 Best Buys report are regional locations outside of the capital cities. Right now, the growth markets in Australia, there's plenty of them to be found around Australia, but they are not in the biggest cities, they're in the smaller capital cities and they're in the regional areas outside of the capital cities. And we think that right now the strongest market anywhere in Australia, in general terms, is regional Victoria. And one of those regional cities that's doing particularly well is Bendigo. We've previously in our reports highlighted regional cities like Geelong, which has done very well in the last few years, is now past its peak. Ballarat we've highlighted a number of times in several of our reports and during these kinds of broadcasts. It's still a growth market, but quite well advanced with its growth market and the growth cycle, I think. A little bit further back in the cycle is Bendigo. Similar qualities to Ballarat in terms of proximity to the capital city, Melbourne, and also the transport links between the two places, which are big factors for both Ballarat and Bendigo. A strong, diverse economy. We always look for that in regional locations that we would recommend to our customers. We do like a diverse economy, and Bendigo certainly offers that. It's very, very strong in tourism, it's strong in agriculture and the surrounding areas around that regional city. Manufacturing is strong, the retail sector is strong. There's a lot of history there, and that brings in a lot of tourists, including a lot of Chinese tourists. There's the Golden Dragon Museum, which features the history of Chinese people in Bendigo from the gold rush days of the 1850s in particular. So tourism is strong for Bendigo. It's a city of about 110,000 people, and it's projected that sometime in the next 25 years that population will double. According to the official government projections, Bendigo about 130 k's northwest of Melbourne on the Quarter Freeway, and also connected to Melbourne by upgraded rail links by the regional rail link. One of the notable things about Bendigo as a regional city is a number of major nationally operating entities that are headquartered there. One of them is the Bendigo and Adelaide Bank. It's got the Bendigo Stock Exchange, but also the heavy engineering company Thales. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but THALES, big company that gets major contracts to build vehicles for the military, including right now working on a $1.3 billion contract from the Australian Defence Force. So there's some pretty big operators that headquarter themselves in Bendigo for all sorts of reasons, including it's an affordable place to be. It's a substantial city that offers a lot of services, infrastructure and amenities, and it's well connected to Melbourne, the capital city. Just looking at the property market, the things that stand out about Bendigo, similar to Ballarat, the sister city, not so far away. Firstly is affordability. Most of the suburbs throughout the city of Bendigo have median prices in the 300,000. Some are cheaper, some are in the mid to high 200,000s, but probably the mainstream suburb of Bendigo has a median price somewhere between, say, 300,000 and 350,000. Vacancies are very low in the city, which is a strong factor to consider as a property investor. All of the major postcodes covering the city of Bendigo have vacancy rates currently well below 2%. A couple of them are below 1%, in fact. So a tight rental market, and that supports pretty strong rental yields. Many of the suburbs on our list in our Bendigo report, which you can get on the Hotspotting website, have median rental yields somewhere between 5 and 6%. Californian Gully is 5.7%, 5.5% rather. Long Gully 5.7%. Heathcote 5.4%. As I said, most of the suburbs tend to have median prices in the low 300,000s, such as Golden Square 335, Eagle Hawk 310,000, North Bendigo 310,000 as well. And we're starting to see some pretty solid price growth in many of those suburbs. California Gully, its median price in the last 12 months is up 10%, Heathcote 11%, and there are others like Flora Hill, Maiden Gully, and a few others that are sort of 6, 7, 8% in terms of growth in their median prices. It's been a performer long term. Many of those suburbs have long-term growth rates. That's the 10-year growth average, 5%, 6%, 7%, 8% are the best of them. So that's pretty solid market. Speaks about how steady Bendigo is as a substantial regional city with a strong, diverse economy, a growing population, and strong links to the capital city. There's plenty going on in terms of infrastructure spending and development. I mentioned the big engineering company that gets major contracts from the Australian military is currently working on a $1.3 billion contract to manufacture vehicles for the Australian Defence Force. The La Trobe University campus in Bendigo has got a big education economy, Bendigo, and the La Trobe University campus is currently undergoing a $50 million expansion. There's all sorts of other things happening. The new hospital was completed in the last few years, $630 million project. Other things coming up include upgrades to rail links and road links, and there's some substantial residential projects happening as well, including a subdivision called Forest Park, which is a $400 million project. Evergreen Waters is a $250 million project, and there are others. So it's an action-packed regional city sitting amid the strongest market, I think, in Australia right now, regional Victoria. And I should point out that occasionally I follow my own advice in buying some of the areas that I'm recommending, because I believe in our research and the reasons why we rate these areas, and Bendigo is one of those places. I've recently bought an investment property in Bendigo that ticked all the boxes for me in terms of what I was looking for: affordable price, great location, the ability to value add, etc. So I do recommend Bendigo as a location to consider for all those reasons. It's part of the recently published new edition of our National Top 10 Best Buys report. If you'd like to get that report and all its updates throughout the year, and all the other reports we publish, the top 5 reports, the top 10 reports, the Price Predictor Index, quarterly editions, the editions of the Rider Report newsletter every 2 months, you can get all of those things if you're a premium member of the Hotspotting website. And at this time of year, every year in June, we have our end of financial year special offers, and we do have a special offer on premium membership, which gives you a 1-year subscription with a discounted price for the month of June, saving you, I think it's $660 off the normal price for an annual membership. It means that you'll be getting all of our reports and updates throughout the following 12 months. So it's a great way to get great information about where are the best places to buy in Australia right now, against that background of the much improved sentiment that pervades real estate now, with the election out of the way, the Labor Party's unhelpful policy about negative gearing tossed out and rejected, APRA relaxing its requirements for lending, making it easier to get loans and also be able to get larger loans to invest in real estate and buy homes. Interest rate cuts have just starting to feed into the system following the RBA decision last week. All of that's very helpful to the real estate climate, and probably the biggest factor of all is a turnaround in media sentiment, which has been until recently very negative, and now we're starting to see a lot more positive, optimistic commentary coming out of mainstream media. So all of that as a background. Another thing I wanted to point out before I let you go is that on Thursday I'll be doing 2 webinars, the same webinar twice, in fact, at lunchtime and then in the evening, so that people with different schedules can catch it live with Tyron Hyde from Washington Brown. So we'll be talking about the current market and where are the best places to buy. I'll be talking about some of those locations and some of the smaller capital cities that I rate, and also some of the locations in regional Australia that rate very highly with hotspotting at the moment. One of those being Bendigo, which has been the subject of today's Hotspot of the Week broadcast. That's it for now. Terry Ryder from hotspotting.com.au signing off. Let's do it again, same time next week. Bye for now.